This is WNEP's Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Join us for streamside adventures, days in the field with new and old friends. It's all about making memories and following traditions, and exciting hunting experiences with interesting people. We've captured the beauty and majesty of the great outdoors, and it's all next on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
Welcome everyone to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs, and I got to tell you something. We found gold in the backyard. Now, if you watch WNEP, you know that there have been bear in the backyard with the weather people. There have been raccoons, skunks, woodchucks. They find all the critters. Guess what I found? Gold, and it's hanging on a tree over here. So like I said, gold hanging on the trees. Now you may have seen us on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life cutting these off of trees before. This is a chicken of the woods. What is it? It's one of the best tasting pieces of mushroom you'll ever get, and guess what it tastes like? Chicken. The texture is there, everything. I know that this is a good fresh one because it's bright and orange. Very, very soft to the touch, which means it's going to cook up really nicely. And I even see one over there starting. There may be another one on the back. So the way that I want to do this is I want to cut this and leave some on the tree. Look at that, pure, no bugs, nice and clean. In fact, it came upon us so quickly, I didn't even have a chance to get my mushroom picking bucket out like I always have in my car. Now this is an old oak tree that was cut down just a couple years ago. They thought it was going to fall on the cabin. So we're just going to keep cutting. Look at that. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Now this is an appropriate time to show you this because you're going to be doing a lot of hiking. You're going to be doing a lot of camping. You're going to maybe even get out and start looking at your tree stands, whatever. So it's really easy to notice these. They're like a light bulb against usually an old rotted oak tree. They'll continue to decay that tree, but I have found them year after year under the same tree or by the same tree. This is a great find. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to cut these all up, take them off the tree, and then we're going to go into the cabin and cook them. And here we are in our makeshift kitchen inside the Pennsylvania Outdoor Life cabin. First thing we've got to do is, I looked this all over. There's no bugs, there's no pieces of tree, anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into pieces like that you would look like a small piece of chicken. We're going to deep fry, we're going to pan fry this in hot oil. If you have a deep fryer, that's even better. 1 to 2 inch pieces like that is absolutely perfect. Something like this is easy to cook, and we're going to actually start a breading and the whole bit with that. So we're going to cut enough that producer Brian and I can have a lunch. And if you feel a spot that you think is just a little too woody, a little too hard, get rid of it. You've got plenty. You don't want to spoil what you have here. So we're just going to continue to cut this. But this mushroom is so versatile and tastes so much and feels like so much like a chicken. It deserves the name Chicken of the Woods. Now, that's enough for now. We could cook forever. We've got enough to try it and to see what happens with this. I'm going to tell you that it's your typical breading mix. Simple mixture. What we're going to do is we're going to take 2 cups of breadcrumbs, 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of red cayenne. If you're not a spicy guy, don't put it in there. 2 teaspoons of salt, and we'll use cooking oil down the road. So these are the ingredients. Now I've measured all of those in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix them all up. You can see the different layers there. We're going to mix them all up, and we're going to share this equally between the flour and the breadcrumbs. I like a little flavoring here and there. You can see the mixtures coming along nicely. Make sure all the garlic and onion powders and all those kind of things are all mixed in together. And then we're going to put like half of that there. And we're going to put half of that there. And that's good. Now we're gonna mix this into the flour. You could see it. We're just flavoring our flour. You could see it. And then we're gonna do the same over here to the breadcrumbs. Now, if you're gonna do eggplant, maybe you wanted to add a little bit of Italian seasoning to it, or some Parmesan cheese, all different variations. I'm telling you, this is your basic one. We're gonna try it with the chicken of the woods. I've got 4 eggs here, and I'm gonna beat them up. This is gonna be our wash. And what I like also doing is adding a squirt of my favorite hot sauce. I've fallen in love with this one, Old Bay. Just a couple shots. And now we're gonna start. We're gonna put this in the flour first. Just like that. Roll it around. I always keep one clean hand and one dirty hand. Okay. And here's the dirty hand. We're gonna move that around inside the egg wash. Get everything nice and covered. And then into the breadcrumbs. Now what I like doing, since we're cooking with the oil, is if you can, try to get them all breaded before you start cooking. There, see? That should work nicely. Very, very nicely. And we're just gonna take our time and do it again and again until enough of it's done so we could have a nice lunch. And I was always the dirtiest one in the kitchen. You know, I was always the one that had the flour on their face and had the flour on their clothes. When we get done with this one, then we're gonna put the oil in the frying pan. We're gonna let these set a little bit. And then we're gonna put the oil in the frying pan. I'm gonna get cleaned up. We're gonna clean this area up a little bit. And we're gonna start cooking. All right, they're all breaded. Oil's been on. Roughly 356. I shut it off for a while, let it cool down a little bit. And here we go. We're just gonna start putting these in and see what happens to them. We know we're gonna be smelling some deliciousness pretty soon. And they're gonna start cooking up pretty nicely. I'm not gonna overfill this. And I guess, you know, like the word is always like, you wanna put them in there for, oh, I don't know, 2 minutes on each side. If you're a deep fryer, you just throw it in the deep fryer. We'll watch this and see what happens. I do love that sound. It reminds me of my grandmother's kitchen when she may have been making potato pancakes or French fries or something like that. But I'm judging. I'm probably gonna let it go for about 2 minutes. Roll it over on its side. They're looking pretty good if you ask me. So my best guess is we're at about 2 minutes. So now we're just gonna, oh baby doll, look at that. Look at that. And I can feel as I'm grabbing it, it's good and crunchy. And we're gonna let these go another 2 minutes on that side. Look at those. They look scrumptious. All right, then another 2 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that. These are coming along really nice. I want to get these out before they brown anymore. They're nice and crunchy. Put them on a paper towel. Look at that. Once we get the pan pretty full, that plate pretty full, then we're gonna come back and taste test them and maybe even throw in a couple of dips or two. So here we go with the second round. All right, they're all done, and it doesn't get any faster than that. We picked that off the tree about 35 minutes ago, and it turns out to be these. We'll call it deep fried chicken of the woods, pan fried, whatever. Now I know one of these are the first ones, so they should be a little bit cooler. I have blue cheese here, but what I always like to do with anything, you know me, in heat, I like to kick it up a little bit. So I'm gonna do this. With that sauce, I'm gonna do this. Let me tell you, the texture is chicken. The flavor is almost chicken, but it did take a lot of the heat took a lot of the seasonings that we had in the breading and the flour and everything. That is just awesome. You've got to try it. Go out and find a chicken of the woods. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.